Welcome back to part 3 of our Phasmophobia discussion. If you guys missed out on our last 2 videos, please go check those out now. Again, today I'm going to be joined by Risky Ginger. We're going to be talking more about Phasmophobia, things that we would like to see added to the game in future updates. But with that out of the way, let's jump in. And I mean, ultimately, I think the goal for a lot of people that have played Phasmophobia for a long time, I think a lot of us want more of a horror element to the game because, again, you know, and I keep saying this, I keep referring back to when I first started playing, but when I first started playing, that's when I got like the most enjoyment out of the game. Not that I'm bored with the game, but I mean, I remember when there was times where I was scared to come out of the van. Like, I walked in the house, I got my evidence, I need to go back in for something more, but like I'm having to talk myself into going back in.
Did you like creep up to that entranceway and you hear the audio change from the outside noises to the house and you get like this clenched feeling in your stomach and you're like, oh, the fear is there.
Yeah.
And that kind of edges away with time just because you're used to it. You know what to expect. And so some of these other updates that they've done, especially with like the hunting, it brought some of that back. But now we're starting to adapt to this new hunt style as well. You know, turn off your flashlight, run around in the dark, hope you've got a place planned out that you can hide. Some of that edge that we felt is now smoothing back out.
Yeah, and it's funny because I feel like I don't know if this is going to be the way Phasmo is throughout the life of the game. I mean, it's still in early access, but is it ever going to get to a point where just it's like, cool, the game's finished and I'm no longer scared of the game, like the game doesn't scare me? Or is it going to get to the point where it's like, cool, this game's too scary?
And that's a real possibility. There are people that I've watched on Twitch for well over a year that absolutely adored Phasmophobia up until they did the hunt change, where now, you know, it chases electronics and all of that, and the ghost events will sometimes almost mimic a hunt, and so you can't really tell the difference unless you're hearing for when the door locks. And they actually stopped playing at that point because they said it made it too difficult, that you had to pay more attention and it wasn't quite so chill to hang out with your friends and be goofy, so they don't really play it anymore. But then on the flip side of that, conversely, you know, there's people that I watch that are like, no, give me more.
Yes.
Like, this is starting to get a little too easy. I've adjusted to it. Let's amp it up again. So I think there's not going to be a way to please everybody.
No.
And I also have to beg the question, you know, at what point do they say, okay, this is as far as we're going to take this game, and we actually are going to start working on a Phasmophobia 2 that's going to have, you know, a new engine, all new, this, that, and the other, you know. At what point do they say, okay, this is going to be our full release, this is the last update this one's getting, and we're going to start working on a version 2? Is that a thing that they're looking to do? I mean, when Phasmophobia started out, it was a single dev. They're now up to a 3-man dev team. You know, that's improvement, which is why we've gotten as many updates as we have in just the last couple of months of last year. So I really am excited to see how far they can take this and see how far they can keep going without kind of running it into the ground.
I mean, it's kind of sad to think about it, to be honest. Like, Phasmophobia being a completed thought.
Feels like there's always something you can improve.
Yeah, I mean, think about it this way. It's kind of like, and it's funny because, you know, as you guys know on the channel, if you guys watch our content, we do, you know, a lot of 7 Days to Die content, and I have seen so many people that are like, oh, this game's been in development for, you know, however long, you know, why isn't it finished yet? But at the same time, it's like, I don't want it to be done because I look forward to that point where I get bored of the game and I know there's new content coming at some point. So like me leaving the game, I know I'm going to come back to it. I don't play games that came out years and years ago because I've seen everything there is to see. So having that, like, cool, I can step away from this game and I know it's not going to be a game that's going to sit on my shelf kind of deal because I know I'm going to come back to it.
Silly enough, it actually makes me wonder how any developer ever feels like they've completed a project and can release a completed game. How do you not look at it and say, there's always something more? 7 Days to Die is a perfect example. There are a lot of people that are like, man, that game is still in alpha. How is it still like that? Mm-hmm. I mean, it is, but look at how much it has changed.
Oh, yeah.
And in the industry, I mean, in the gaming industry, even in the technical industry, so much is changing so quickly. There's so many things that can be done. It makes you wonder, like, is there ever going to be a point where Phasmophobia is officially a completed thing
I think so.
We're passing it on?
I think so. And I mean, and that's the thing that like every developer has to go through, because I mean, it's their business. They have to make money, and it's going to get to a point where they're no longer receiving sales. Unfortunately, unless they pull like a Bethesda and release the same game over a decade, but variations of it. Oh, it's got better graphics now because it's the enhanced version. Oh, we're releasing all of our modded content into the game. The game's gonna die. Like, they're gonna stop making money off of it, so they're gonna have to move on and make something new.
And I mean, with the popularity that Phasmophobia has at this point, I could very easily see them, when it starts dropping off and getting to that point where they're like, okay, it's gonna be really hard to continue developing on this particular game and make money so that we can pay all of our people, because ultimately they're running a business. They have people that they need to pay. At that point, because it has such a good following and it has been surprisingly popular, they can start talking about doing something like a Phasmophobia 2, which would be enough to generate hype and get people interested and get that influx coming in so that they can start putting those resources into something else as well.
Absolutely.
And I also feel like Phasmophobia was kind of groundbreaking for a lot of these other ghost hunting games.
It was. I mean, you started, like, Phasmophobia released, and then you immediately started seeing copycats that I would say aren't as well-rounded as Phasmophobia, but also have their own unique spins on the game. So I'm excited to see where those go, and we're going to be doing some content on those in the future. Like, it's coming to the channel, guys. Like, love it or hate it.
Right.
we like the format that Phasmophobia has. I mean, think about it this way: like, PUBG released, and then within a year we had 30 different battle royale style games. It's gonna happen. Unfortunately, we tried covering PUBG, but it didn't take to the channel, so it's no longer there. But kind of going back to things based off the title, because we kind of got off on a tangent there.
A little bit.
About some things that we would like to see added to the game. We've talked about ghost interactions. We didn't really talk about equipment too much, and we'll get to that, I think, later on in the future.
At this point, the equipment kind of is what it is.
Yeah.
Until we know that they're supposed to be bringing updated versions, but that's still got a big question mark on it. We don't know when, we don't know cost, we don't know anything else. We have some clues in the main lobby as to what the updated versions might look like, but that's not even guaranteed. That could just be teasers.
Yeah, like a placeholder.
Yeah, at this point, it's kind of...
It is what it is. So I'm not too worried about talking about that. However, if there is something that you guys would like to see, based off of any kind of lore or anything added to the game, please let me know down in the comments, because that could be something that we discuss on a future video.
I do want to say there is one thing that is supposed to be coming as a general change that I am very excited about. And we talked about this just before we started the video, and that is the cursor customization. I wear glasses. I have very poor vision. I lose my cursor in the white carpets of these houses so much, and it has more than once gotten me hugged by a ghost. So I am excited because they are wanting to make it so that you can change the size, what the icon is, the color, and the transparency. I am over the moon and cannot wait for that to hit in an update, because that thing is changing for me. I cannot see that little white circle to save my life.
Well, I mean, and it's funny too that they would use, white. And again, the game's in early access, but what I say by that is you're in a dark house, and mostly everything in Phasmophobia, other than like some of the log cabin style houses, mostly everything's white. So I think that was just a poor design choice, but again, they've realized that, and they're making up for it.
I can also kind of see the flip side though. A lot of the equipment that you're picking up is black.
Well, it used to be white. Remember how
it did used to be white, and then they changed it,
which I thought was strange that they made it black. I think it looks better overall. It looks more modern, but at the same time, whenever they first released it, I was really worried about trying to find the equipment in the dark.
Sometimes it can definitely be a challenge.
Yes. I'm like, where is that EMF reader?
I can hear it and I can see the lights, but I can't pick it up for the life of me. Yeah.
Yes. Besides the equipment, let's talk about maps real quick, because we mentioned exterior maps.
Yes.
And I know that they're working on some maps. They took them off their forum page, but at one point, I believe they had said that they were working on a sewers map, they were working on a mansion. I'd like to see a castle, but one major change that I would like to see in just the map design itself is variation in height. And what I mean by that is actual like hills, if that makes any sense. All the maps are very flat. You have 2 levels, but with just stairs. Yeah, everything's very flat. So it kind of feels unnatural. But also, what I would also like to see is more like warped and broken down buildings. There was another game that I saw. I can't remember. I want to say it's like Ghost Exile, one of the maps. And I was like, that looks creepy. But it's kind of like an old cabin style house from like maybe like the early 1900s.
Oh.
But it was so old that like the house was leaning. So like everything was like slightly off instead of, at that like perfect 12-degree mark. It was at like a 1 o'clock position.
It's very interesting.
Yeah. And that for me, because it disorients you, it like messes, that kind of thing messes with your brain. And that's why they use it, in a lot of horror movies, not just because it's old, but because your brain's automatically like, hey, this isn't normal.
Yeah, it's like it's trying to throw your balance off even though you're not actually balancing.
Exactly.
Your brain expects to see it at that vertical, that pleasing mark, but it's just off.
So I would like to see more buildings kind of built like that. And I think that's going to come in time. I know a lot of the early maps for Phasmophobia were pre-rendered like houses. Like basically he got them from like a stock folder somewhere.
Tell you what, my favorite house is still Tanglewood, and it always will be.
For now, you say that, but you never know. You never know. There could be that one house that you're like, I don't know, I just love this thing. So
I know the one I really can't stand, and that's Willow. I always die.
I was really excited for Willow, and then it released, and for one, I think the layout of the house is weird.
It's a little strange.
Yeah, it's strangely designed. Like, and I hate to get off on the topic here on tangent, but I got to talk about this. Why do they have glass double doors, like French-style glass doors leading to the garage?
I ask myself that question every time I'm there.
Yes.
And better yet, here's the better question. How is it you can hide behind one of those glass French doors and escape a hunt when a ghost should be able to see directly through those glass panes?
Yeah.
But you know what? It works.
Yes, it works, and I like that, but I also hate it because
that's one of those immersion breakers.
It's an immersion breaker, and for anybody that has stuck around on the channel for a long time or has been in the Twitch channel, I'm a very immersive gamer. Like, I want to be fully immersed in a game. I want to feel like I'm actually there.
Yes.
So if something's constantly breaking my immersion, it kind of ruins the game for me. And I get to see through the matrix, which is interesting in its own right, because I'm like, this makes sense. Like, I can kind of understand how they program this, but at the same time, it's frustrating because I'm like, you just broke the fourth wall. The game's talking.
And I guess when designing the Willow house, I don't know if that one was taken from a stock folder or if that was the first house the devs actually designed themselves. I think a large part of it was really just going for that different look. So when you're at Willow, you're at Willow. But it was also presented as a challenge map because there are no closets, there are no lockers. You have to figure out how to hide behind furniture or behind doors or things of that nature to survive hunts, which is a really cool concept. However, there are certain aspects of that house that just don't make sense.
No, they don't make sense at all.
They just don't.
And speaking of closets and stuff, there's another game. It's funny, I was talking about that warped house. That was from that wasn't from Ghost Exile, that was from Ghost Hunter Corpse, by the way. But Ghost Exile, the way that they have their breaker set up, because Phasmophobia, you have to turn the breaker on to turn the lights on. Ghost Exile has the same thing, but occasionally there will be a fuse missing.
And you have to find the fuse to put it back in the breaker?
Yes, and it can be in like a random drawer, it can be in a cabinet. And while I like that idea, I don't, want Phasmophobia to be like, we're going to do the fuse thing. No, I don't want them to take something else that somebody has done and use it in the game necessarily.
I kind of feel like it's just yet another sanity drain tactic.
Yeah, well, but I would like to see something like, give me something in the drawers that I have to look for, like a reason to rifle through the house, other than just like looking for the bone and the cursed object. Put the cursed object in the drawer.
That would be interesting.
Because I don't ever, like when I first started playing the game, because I didn't know the game, I would look through like everything.
I did too. I would pull open every drawer, every cabinet.
Exactly. Now I ignore all of that.
The only one I open is in Tanglewood because there is the potato with the smiley face in the kitchen in one of the cabinets of the island.
Let's see if I can find a picture of that.
That is the only one I mess with now.
We named him yet?
I don't think we've named him yet, but we need to.
Yeah, we need to come up with a name for him. If you guys have an idea, let us know down in the chat. I almost said chat. Down in the comments. Let us know down in the comments. We've been streaming too much. And then we'll ask our chat as well when we're streaming next. Also, guys, if you guys aren't following us on Twitch, please do so. Again, link will be down in the description. So come hang out with us. Watch us get spooked. Because we do. I mean, you know, a lot of this discussion is me saying like, oh, you know, like I'm not scared of the game. The game still makes me jump.
Oh my gosh, it makes me. You will get to hear my signature phrase that has apparently become a thing, especially when I get startled.
Yeah, we've got a clip of that. Oh my cheese.
Yeah, I say oh my G's,
with a
but
J.
it sounds like cheese.
Yeah.
So that has become a running thing.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a running gag. So, yeah, I mean, we have a lot of fun over there. Me, Sobi, Risky likes to join us when she can, and we have a lot of other friends. Plus, here recently, we've been doing followers. Community games. So if you guys are following the channel, you guys can actually queue in and join up and play with us. So if you're interested in that, hit us up on Discord, come hang out with us on Twitch, and you guys are more than welcome to come play with us.
It's always fun.
Yeah, always fun. With that being said, if you guys watched our last video, then you guys will know that we actually recently dropped a merch line as well. I would like to remind you guys that we do have a merch line out. It is our founders merch line with our current logo on it, which I'm really excited for. We have, hopefully here soon, we'll be coming out with some new designs for different t-shirts and stuff. So really excited to kind of see where that goes in the future.
I'm very excited about some of the ideas in the works.
Yeah, there's a lot of ideas, a lot of things on paper, not only for the merch, but for the channel and for the YouTube channel and the Twitch channel together as well. So if you guys are interested, again, this is our founders merch. I don't know how long we're going to keep this merch up for, so it could be a limited time kind of deal. So get it while you can. That being said, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. If you guys have anything that you guys want to leave us in the comments, please let us know. We love reading your comments. We also, like me personally, I love going through and responding to as many as I can until I just can't anymore. So that's always fun. And until next time, I'm going to go ahead and say this is Obi signing out.
This is Risky.
You want to do Sobi's see you guys next time?
I'll do it.
All right, we'll redo the exit here. Until next time, this is Obi.
This is Risky.
Signing out.
See you guys next time.